Welcome back to Motor Madness, where we dive deep into automotive history and bring back the legends that shaped the roads we travel today. Today, we're taking you on a journey almost a century back in time to explore one of the earliest and most iconic Japanese buses ever built, the 1929 Isuzu Sumida Bus. This isn't just a vehicle. It's a piece of living history that tells the story of Japan's entry into the automotive world, long before Isuzu became a global name. So buckle up, because we're about to explore every detail of this vintage masterpiece. From its exterior design and interior layout to its performance and the value it holds today, at first glance, the 1929 Isuzu Sumida Bus is a work of industrial art. Its design reflects the late 1920s era, when vehicles were transitioning from horse-drawn carriages to fully motorized public transport. The exterior showcases a boxy yet charming profile with a tall, upright body designed to maximize passenger capacity. A prominent feature is the large, rounded front grille, flanked by two exposed circular headlamps that give the bus a distinctly vintage and almost locomotive-like presence. The body sits on a sturdy ladder frame chassis, built to handle the rough and unpaved roads of pre-war Japan. With its wooden paneling and riveted metal framework, every line of the Sumida Bus screams durability and function. The long wheelbase and tall stance were intentional design choices, aimed at providing stability and a comfortable ride for passengers. Paint schemes from that era often featured deep greens or burgundy reds, with contrasting cream or white detailing. And most surviving units have undergone careful restorations to preserve that original charm. Step inside, and you're transported straight back to 1929. The interior of the Isuzu Sumida Bus is simple yet thoughtfully designed. Keeping passenger comfort in mind despite the technology of the time, seating was arranged in 2 rows along the sides, with bench-style wooden seats capable of accommodating up to 20 passengers depending on the configuration. There was little in the way of modern amenities, but the craftsmanship spoke volumes. Polished wooden interiors, brass fittings, and a high ceiling created a surprisingly airy feel, even in crowded conditions. The driver's cockpit is a bare bones affair, dominated by a large steering wheel, mechanical gauges, and manually operated levers. There were no power-assisted controls, so driving this bus required skill and strength, especially on steep hills and rugged terrain. Yet for the passengers of the time, riding in a Sumida bus was a leap forward in comfort compared to the alternative's horse-drawn trams or walking. Now let's talk performance. The 1929 Sumida Bus was powered by an inline 4-cylinder gasoline engine, producing around 45 horsepower, respectable figure for its day. It had a top speed of roughly 40 kilometers per hour, which was perfectly adequate for the congested streets and undeveloped roads of 1920s Japan. The bus employed a manual transmission and rear-wheel drive layout with leaf spring suspension, systems designed to handle the heavy loads of daily urban transportation. While by today's standards its acceleration might feel sluggish, back then the Sumida Bus was considered reliable and robust, capable of running long hours with minimal maintenance. Isuzu's engineering focus was durability, and this bus set the tone for the company's reputation in the commercial vehicle segment in terms of safety. Vehicles of this era lacked modern braking systems, airbags, or crumple zones. The Sumida Bus relied on mechanical drum brakes, which required considerable driver input to bring the heavy bus to a stop. Still, its robust build and relatively slow speeds made it a trustworthy mode of transportation for its time. Today, driving one of these would be a completely different experience, more like operating a piece of moving history than a modern bus. Now let's discuss what this bus is worth today. The 1929 Isuzu Sumida Bus is a rare collectible, with only a handful of examples surviving around the world, most of which are either museum pieces or part of private collections. Because of its historical significance, restored units can fetch anywhere between $150,000 and $300,000. Depending on originality and condition, unrestored units are even harder to find and often require extensive restoration efforts, which can cost a small fortune. Collectors prize the Sumida not just for its rarity, but for what it represents: the origins of Japanese mass transportation and the early days of Isuzu as a manufacturer. Owning one today is less about practicality and more about passion, nostalgia, and preserving automotive history. Enthusiasts who have had the chance to experience the 1929 Sumida Bus often describe it as stepping back in time. It's offering a glimpse into an era when motoring was raw, mechanical, and deeply connected to the driver and passengers alike. For Isuzu, the Sumida Bus marks an important milestone. It's laying the groundwork for decades of innovation in the commercial vehicle industry. So there you have it, a deep dive into the 1929 Isuzu Sumida Bus, a vehicle that carried not just passengers, but the legacy of an entire generation of Japanese engineering. If you enjoyed this trip through automotive history, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to Motor Madness, turn on the notification bell so you never miss another deep dive into the world's most fascinating cars and buses.